Hey, what's up, guys? This is like my first time really doing like a ranting style video, so I'm like really excited for this. Um, Before I get into the video though, this video will be in three sections. So this first section is gonna be the intro, gonna be talking about more personal stuff with the stream and then channel as well, and then talk more about overall. The second portion is gonna be me getting into the meat of the changes, and the third portion is going to be the actual damage test of the changes. So if you don't care about my intro and what I have to say, then you can skip, and I'll have the have it timestamped in the description. Um, okay, so I'm not doing this scripted. So I apologize if it's a bit, wonky or whatever. But yeah. So people have been wanting my thoughts on Samira. Every time like something changes about Samira, I always get like either you guys in the comments who are like, "Oh, what do you think about this? What do you think about this?" Or someone on Twitter, someone on Reddit, etc., etc. Um, oh, that's fine. I do not mind people ask questions. In fact, I like when people ask questions, cause I get to rant and fucking nerd out and stuff. However, I do think it gets a bit easier and more manageable if I can just like point to one reference point and be like, just watch this, and this is all my thoughts. So that's what this is. Um, I want to do more different style videos in the future, and ranting videos are definitely one of them. I love ranting. Okay, I like talking. Okay, chat. I said chat like I'm talking to the Twitch, whatever, whatever. Anyway, uh, but yeah, I'll definitely try to do more ranting videos if this video does well. So if you guys like the style of video, definitely tell me in the comments. I read all the comments. Give me feedback, okay? Cause I'm not gonna lie, for the last like 2 or 3 months ish, I've been doing all the editing on my own. I have a guy that does my thumbnails, and then that's it. I do all the editing for my YouTube, my TikToks, and then I'll like obviously I'm streaming. Um, but yeah, I want to show my face on the channel more. Even though you guys see me in the videos, um, like on stream, you don't actually get to like see me talk to the YouTube community. I don't know, it's different. Um, I know that the upload schedule has been kind of random recently. Mostly because like my schedule, my IRL stuff has been kind of all over the place, like work, school, all that stuff. So I'm trying to balance it out. So I apologize. Um, for those of you that don't know, my stream schedule, I stream every other day. I try to start stream like latest 6:37 p.m. EST, but I could start earlier on the day. Um, Usually you'll see me start somewhere between like 1 and 5 p.m. EST. And I try to stream every other day. That's what I've been on right now. So right now, the day when this video goes out, I'll be streaming later in the day. Um, and yeah, so now we're gonna get into the changes. So you guys were kind enough to rant about this on the PBE, and like I said, I love ranting. Okay, and so we're gonna talk about the OG changes first, and then we're gonna go to the new changes that they did. So the OG changes, they reduced Samira's Q base damage and her Q AD. Sorry, they reduced her Q base damage and then increased the Q AD ratio, um, which was the first line of changes, and then they also nerfed her R base damage, which was a huge nerf. I need to find the so yeah, so Samira's R-AD ratio was reduced from 45% to 25%, and her R base damage was increased from um, 5 to 25 to 20 to 60. And initially, my thoughts were that with the increased crit damage that was coming, um, it would maybe be more damage, possibly late game. However, I still would think even if that was the case, it would be an overall nerf, because obviously Samira wants to play for the mid game at 2 items, or the early-ish game with 1 item on collector, rather than being forced to play for late game. So overall, I thought it was gonna be a nerf either way, but I did not expect it to be as big a nerf as it was. Admittedly, especially with the Q modifier increase plus the crit damage increase for next season. I was not expecting this nerf to be as big as it was, but after doing the damage test on the PvE versus live, it is an insane nerf. Um, It was a massive nerf. Um, we did not get any damage back. I thought that we would get a lot of damage back with this change, and we definitely did not. Um, to me, I don't really understand why Riot. I don't think Riot understands how this champ works, because to me, I'm looking at this and I'm like, why would they only, if you're gonna buff the base damage, they need to buff it more than this, because right now her AD ratio is total AD ratio. It's not bonus. So any changes to the AD ratio, even if you give her base damage, is still going to be a huge nerf. They would have to buff the base damage by a lot more in order to make this super valuable. Now, what I thought they were going to do, which would have been smart, was increase the base damage by a lot and make the AD ratio like a bonus AD ratio, and then increase that ratio, right? So that way, she's not one-shotting from the beginning of the game, because obviously you're not going to have a lot of bonus AD at the beginning. But but she'll be able to play more for the early game, which is what I thought they would push this champ towards. Even with the increased crit modifier, we don't really auto attack, so that isn't really going to change how this champ functions. That buff doesn't really change, like the buff to overall crit doesn't help us as much as it helps other AD carries who are more auto attack reliant. I thought that they would compensate Samira, like I said, by giving us like more damage early, so that we can actually be a lane bully. I feel like they want to make Samira a lane bully, kinda. Like obviously they want to pair her with engaged sports, and engaged sports usually get paired with more lane dominant champs. But it's weird because Samira is like not a lane dominant champ. Like if you're thinking of lane dominant champs, you're thinking of like Draven, thinking of like Callista, you know, champs that are strong out the gate, regardless of how strong the support is, right? But like Samira isn't like that. Samira needs specific interactions with champions, and if she doesn't have those, she's extremely weak, right? In certain comps, she can be very OP, but that's not because Samira is OP necessarily. It's more because those engage tools are strong, and that makes her strong, right? Those engage tools being that strong, she follows up on them, but she doesn't actually do that on her own. She doesn't have that agency that like a Draven has, or a Tristana has, or a Callista has. Um, so yeah, so this was a huge nerf. And then I made the big video, and posted on Reddit, and it seems to have got a reaction out of them, because they then made a couple changes. They also changed how the Q works as well, with the Q base damage and the Q AD ratio, and but they reduced the Q damage after. This was a weird change. And then they made another change. The Q crit damage is going to be 150%, and on live it's under 25%. This is actually another good change, because once we hit 2 items, we're going to start hitting really hard. But it's still an overall nerf from live, because we lost so much base damage and AD ratio. And then also, they gave us back a little bit of our AD ratio from 25% to 30%, and on live it's 45%. Um, this change, it's definitely a step in the right direction. It's still a big damage hit. Don't get me wrong. Don't get mistaken by this. It is still a big damage nerf. We lost so much AD ratio. However, if we get one more tiny adjustment, we'll be about even as we are on live. The thing is, I get that crit across the board is going to get buffed. I get it. It's a buff for everyone. However, Samira is already not in the best spot, right? So you would think that they would only give her like a tiny nerf, since she's already not very good, to keep her in line with the rest of the cast, or at least make her like kind of moderate strength. Um, Instead, they hit her like as hard as possible, which was weird to me, because she's not doing very well. Um, I mean, we can look at her winner right now. Not doing very good, as you can see. But I feel like a lot of people are playing her wrong anyway. I'm gonna go D2. But yeah, so she's not doing too well. She's doing okay, I guess. Was she doing better last patch? Yeah, we can try to get bigger sample size. She was doing a little bit better last patch. I feel like it's hard for Riot to get a lot of good stats, because like it seems like, in a lot of the lower elo brackets, like she has like a decent win rate, but then when you go to like the higher elo brackets, like kind of levels out a little bit. I only have 600 matches here. I only 1,000 here though. But she's not like, I think that Samira, she isn't in a horrible spot, but I don't think she's in a good one right now. And I don't think that they should be nerfing her super hard, even with the coming crit buffs. I think that if anything, she should get like a tiny nerf. That's what I thought they were gonna do. Tiny nerf, tiny baby nerf, not a big one though. This was last patch anyway. But yeah. Right now, Samira not doing very good on live patch. And I thought that we would get like way stronger in the coming season. I was hoping we get more items too. I'm gonna do an item guide as well in a separate video. But yeah, I just want to talk about this. I always like talking about Samira news because it's rare we actually get Samira news. So when we do get Samira news, I'm like, I gotta talk about it. And yeah, so my thoughts overall conclusion. My thoughts about the Samira changes. Obviously, not good. We lost a lot of AD ratio. Not good. They didn't buff our early game and give us good compensation. Not good. They didn't make changes I thought they were gonna make to push the champ in a certain direction. So overall, everything was just bad. Honestly, we got nuked, boys. We're cooked. Maybe in the there's been constant changes though, so maybe hopefully we get one more tiny push back, tiny buff back, and the champ won't be complete shit next season. And so yeah, we're gonna go into the damage chest portion now, and then that's gonna be the end of the video. So enjoy. My friend. BOP for sure in certain comps. Could be 7527 again. Oh my god! Oh my god! At one crit item, we should be at less, but at 2 crit items, we should be more. Yeah, there's literally no benefit to anything they did, by the way. Even with the crit change that's supposed to give us like better scaling, it's like significantly worse.